What's going on YouTube? Uberman here. This video is about high fares and not getting paid for them when you should be getting paid for them. I've encountered this issue one time before and it was really upsetting and it was very frustrating, and I've encountered it again. I don't know what the threshold is, but apparently there is a point at which a fare is considered too high and it has to be held for further review. I really don't know what the amount is on this, but I'm going to show you the fare in question. It's the $377 fare. Let's see if the focus manages to snap back. Alright. Now, I looked at my partner, dashboard thing online, the web page that we go to. I keep it pulled up on my device at all times so that when I'm working I can keep track of it. So, there's my partner statement for the week. I have worked more this week. That's why my weekly payout, that's my actual payout. That's what my payout is going to be. That is not before Uber takes their commission. That's actually after. The truth is, I've gone out more this week, mainly like 12 to 4 all week, just to see if I can make some extra money. I've done pretty well. Considering my payout's almost $400 and considering I've made $52 in tips this week. So honestly, you take the $368 and add $50 to it, or $52, and I've got $420 coming this week between my tips and my payout. Now the issue is this number. While that's good, $420 for a week is decent. The problem is, I'm missing $377. Now, after Uber takes their commission, I expect that to be right around $300. But instead of making $420 this week, I should have made $720 this week. And I'm still working tonight. It's Sunday. Time goes in at 4 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. So I will be out working tonight. I anticipate making another $50 or so dollars. So, $420 plus the $50 is $470, and then if you add $300 to that, that's $770. I should have made $800 this week. And I'm going to read to you the entire conversation between myself and Uber. It's short, but I just want to give you an idea. If this has happened to you, if you're looking at your statement and you're wondering why you're missing money, well, this is why. So, my first email to Uber. In fact, I'm just going to read the whole thing to you. Word for word, verbatim. I said, there's a trip for $377 missing on my driver's page from New Year's Day. I took 2 guys from downtown to night trips, but it was closed, so they had me take them home to Northwest, blah, 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 blah. I waited, but it isn't showing up on my driver page, yet it shows on my iPhone. I sent a request to you guys twice about this issue yesterday and was told the case was escalated and I'd get a response from another department yesterday afternoon. However, I never received that response. Time goes in at 4 a.m. tomorrow and this money is still missing and no one has helped me with this. My rent and car payment are due. I can't stress enough how much I need this payment on my January 5th payout. I cannot pay my bills without it. I earned that money and desperately need it. Trip ID number, blah, blah, blah. You always need to give your trip ID number if you have an issue with a trip. Also, always provide your email address and your phone number. It helps them locate your account. Now, the response I got was from Rachel. And it says, "Hi, Randy. Thanks for reaching out. Since this is a high-value trip, it goes through another review process. Don't worry. It will show up on your next statement once it's approved. Best, Rachel." And that's their response. So then I said, "Hi, Rachel. Next statement, as in the one on January 5th or January 12th. I can't pay my rent and car payment without that trip on this payout. January 5. Thanks, Randy Shear." Rachel comes back and says, "Randy, thanks for your patience on this. Because the trip was such a high-value trip, it goes through a review. If there are any issues, we'll contact you. If not, it will just automatically show up on your statement. I don't know if it will show up on the 1.5 or 1.12 statement, but I've already notified them that you've inquired of it, so hopefully it will show up soon. Again, if there's any issues with the fare, we'll contact you. It seems to me like they're trying to tell me to stop bothering them. I said, thanks for the follow-up. I understand that it was a high fare, but surge was in full effect at the time. From a driver's perspective, I took the trip. I worked New Year's Eve as requested by Uber. I earned the money. It's hard to understand as a, quote, partner, why I would possibly not get the money I earned this week on this week's payout. I'll wait and see, but I shouldn't have to worry about choosing between my car payment or my rent when I earned enough to pay both. Thank you again for your help. It's appreciated. Please try to understand my frustration as a, quote, partner. Sincerely, Randy Shear. She came back and said, hi, Randy. I understand. If you have any questions after receiving your statement, please let us know. And that's it. That's the whole conversation. That's the whole deal. Now, the truth is, I can pay my rent and my car payment. That's not what it's about. What I'm trying to do is come across to them as an Uber partner that rely, I mean, don't get me wrong, I rely on my paycheck, guys. I do. I definitely rely on my paycheck to pay my bills, but I am not in a situation where I am trying to decide between paying my car payment or paying my rent. That's not an issue. The issue is there are people out there right now that have probably encountered the same situation where right now they went out, they worked their ass off, they earned enough to pay all their bills. You know, it's right after Christmas time. It's been tough on me too. I'm not gonna lie. I've shelled out close to $1,000 just in the last couple of weeks, and I still have almost $1,000 in rent to pay, $425 car payment to pay, $140 for car insurance. That's all due like right now. You know, this week. My bills are not cheap. There are people out there right now that aren't sitting with the kind of money in the bank that I have at the moment. There are people that really are relying on Uber week to week, just like other people rely on their job week to week. And believe me, guys, I'm about 1 week's paycheck from Uber away from potentially losing my ass. So I'm not any different or any better off than the rest of you guys. You know, Uber screws me over on one paycheck. I lose a week. That could make the difference between me being able to keep my house next month or not. And that's the issue. That's what I'm pissed off about. Okay, lucky for me, I can afford to pay my rent and my car payment. You know, really, that is lucky. But there are people out there that can't. And that's what this video is for, and that's what the email to Uber was for. I wanted to push onto them the idea that I am a struggling partner that can't make my rent and my car payment. I mean, when you're an Uber driver, how do you choose? Seriously, how do you choose? You don't make your car payment, your car gets taken. Along with your car goes your job. You don't pay your rent, you get an eviction notice. What would a person do when they're stuck in that situation? That is an unfortunate situation to be in, but the fact is there are probably some Uber partners out there that are trying to decide right now whether they're going to make their rent payment or their car payment because Uber took one of those high surge fares out. Now, I know people probably don't feel sorry for us as drivers because, hey, the passenger got screwed, but you know what? I disagree. The passenger did not get screwed. It was a $377 trip. Absolutely. Was that ridiculous? Is that a ridiculous amount of money to pay for a ride home? Absolutely. But here's the thing, guys. Number one, the customer could afford it. Okay, believe me, I took him home. I know where he lives. He can afford it. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. He was fully conscious. He was able to carry on an intelligent conversation. He was not plastered, shit-faced drunk to the point where he didn't know what he was doing. Okay, again, on the Uber app, you have to enter the amount of the surge. The rider doesn't just hit a button and automatically get screwed on surge pricing. It comes up and it says, hey, surge pricing is at 6.9 times. Please enter the amount of the surge to acknowledge you understand the fare is 6.9 times the normal rate. And he has to enter 6.9. Then he has to request an Uber and it still comes up and says, you do understand surge pricing is in effect. Rates are 6.9 times higher than the normal fare. They have to agree to this over and over again to get a ride. So it may be a ridiculous amount of money. Maybe people aren't happy with that. But this is not what the video is about. This is about the driver. I worked New Year's Eve, just like a lot of you did. That was my big fare for the night. All right, $377. That was my big fare. And I worked New Year's Eve. I took that passenger home on New Year's Eve during surge. I earned that money. And for Uber to hold on to it, I don't know what review they need to do. I mean, I don't understand what the review is. You know, a passenger pushed a button on the Uber app. I, the driver, showed up and drove the passenger to a club that was closed, and then they told me to take him home. And then they were charged $377. I mean, what further review is needed? I mean, it's all right there. I can see it all on my screen. I can see the GPS map showing everywhere I went. So I don't understand what the review is for. That's my bitch fest. It's not so much just about me. Of course, I'm upset that there's a good possibility I won't see that money on my paycheck this week. That pisses me off because I earned it this week. I should get paid for it this week. This is not how a traditional job works. You do work, you get paid for your work. But with Uber, you do work, but I guess if you do too good on one of your jobs, then you're penalized for it by them holding the fare for review. I'm pissed, but I am really thankful that I'm not in the situation of choosing between my rent and my car payment. Because if I was, I would definitely be reconsidering working for Uber at this point. This has happened to me once before. It happened to me in Indianapolis. Luckily then, as soon as I inquired about it and told them I was in a desperate situation, they got the money put right back. I mean, it was right there. But it looks like here in this venue, they're just telling me basically, you know, they'll let me know what they decide, and until then, don't really bother them about it. I'm going to end this video. I was hoping something would change, but it's not going to. So I'm going to cut this video off, and this will basically be to be continued, because I don't know what's going to happen. And if you guys are in the same position, if any of your fares came up missing, you know, post a comment and tell me about it. As always, guys, like, comment, subscribe, be safe, and Uber on.